are dying over there?
Oh, people are dying in Speaker's Corner.
Oh.
You've come into a battlefield, isn't it?
This disrespect is how
You call that disrespect?
He just runs in circles and gets disrespectful. Now we're done.
Of course you're done, because you have no argument. You've been rinsed. You've been rinsed by the Saudis, you've been rinsed by the Moroccans. What else do you have to defend?
So, in the conversation of this, there are many, many countries that are Muslim
Not interested in countries.
And they are run by Islamic scholars that come together and make decisions and believe this is what the Quran is saying. And they are scholars that make the rules for those countries.
Like who?
Iran, Saudi Arabia,
no, like which
Qatar.
scholar have you read? And which works?
He wants to be specific with
names,
but
exactly.
he's asking, can you name a scholar? And if I don't remember a specific name,
you have friends who's a scholar.
It doesn't exist, and that's not a rational argument. And we can't have a conversation if you're like, I can't remember a name.
You're generalizing based on your ignorance.
No.
And you're straw-manning, which I didn't even say.
I'm ignorant because I can do what he asked me to do, but it's not a specific name, which is just such an
substantiate your claim. You said there are scholars. No, you said there are scholars.
Yes, and I don't remember the exact names, and then it doesn't exist, or I'm not being rational because I can point to them. Okay. I'm pointing very clearly to them.
No, you're pointing to countries, not scholarship.
We know that Saudi Arabia is run as an Islamic country. Yes,
we're not interested in countries. We're interested in scholarship.
And the people who come together.
You're conflating two different things.
The people who come together to say this is what the Quran says. This is how we make our laws in Saudi Arabia, in Iran, in Qatar, in Bahrain.
Can women inherit property in Saudi Arabia? Yes, they can. So you bring an example which refutes your point. In Saudi Arabia, brothers and sisters, can women inherit? Can they own business?
For sure?
They do. So now they're refuting your ignorance on this matter.
In Morocco, brother, my wife, she have a house, she have a car, she have a land, and she have a shop. I have good nothing.
But if she has a husband, is it hers?
I am a husband. I am her husband.
Refuting you again, second point. How many times are you going to be rinsed?
Wants me to show her picture with the cover, everything, and she have everything. I have good nothing. I'm just working here, and she got everything there. Here we go. It's Morocco again.
Where is this?
It's Morocco.
No,
so you got Saudi Arabia and Morocco.
It's Islamic country.
Yes, it is.
That's it. That's it.
But it's Morocco's government doesn't control Saudi Arabia's government.
No, we're not talking about Saudi Arabia. We said
but
countries.
I'm talking about Saudi Arabia.
Sorry, sister. You said countries.
Have you been to Saudi Arabia?
No, but I've been to Morocco and Egypt and Jordan.
Where did you hear that in Saudi Arabia, women cannot have their own business and own money?
From Saudis.
From Saudis?
Saudi women.
From Saudi women?
Yeah, they travel.
And you trusted them?
More than you.
Why?
Because they're women from their own country.
No, why did you trust them more than me?
Have you been to Saudi Arabia? Have you been to Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, many times.
Okay.
Yes.
And are you a woman in Saudi Arabia that
understands?
So
it has to be a woman to be truthful.
But you think I have to have traveled to Saudi Arabia?
No, let's understand your logic.
Your logic?
If you're a woman, then you can be truthful. If you're a man, you cannot be.
I'm using your logic on you. You asked if
What is my logic?
You asked if I'd been there, as if I could possibly know something or not know something based on if I'd even been in a country. Like I can't read.
No, isn't it reasonable if we haven't been to a country, then we may know less about it?
I read about the country, but I couldn't possibly know if I haven't been to the country.
So do I have to be a woman to be truthful?
I was using your lack of rationality against you just to show you.
How have I been irrational?
You asked me if I'd been there, as if.
Why did I ask you for?
Again, I'm saying it again. You asked if I'd been there, as if I could possibly know or not know, read something, hear something, learn about something, based on my physical ability to be in a country.
Well, let me tell you why I ask you. If, for example,
I will find you answers while you're talking. I will try to find you some
Go ahead, no problem. You take your time. I have enough time, no problem. So what I'm saying is, sometimes we may not know what's happening politically, economically in a country unless we've been there inside. Like if you haven't been into North Korea, for example, you don't know what's happening in there. If you haven't been to China and
you can have some ideas about laws from people who've come
some idea. But this some I agree. But there's some ideas that you may have.
Arabia doesn't have the laws open for
May I finish? There's some ideas that you may have may be mistaken.
You are saying that a country is not run, Muslim countries are not run by Muslim people who study the Quran. And I'm saying they are run by people who study the Quran.
And where did Saudi Arabia implement this law? Women cannot have properties. Where do you get this from? Where do you get this from?
You're twisting all the things I'm saying.
What have I twisted?
So what I said...
No, you keep accusing me. What have I twisted?
You just jumped over me. So what I said...
What have I twisted, sorry?
Do you hear this? He's asking me a question, but will not let me say
No, you accuse me of twisting. I would like you to substantiate.
He immediately starts talking as soon as I'm trying to answer the question.
Oh, go ahead, you're answering.
So
I'm sorry.
He just talks in and talks over.
I'm
so
sorry, you are answering.
She's
She's going to tell us how I'm twisting. Go ahead.
Are you actually going to let me?
Yeah. That's the point.
Talking to men is so funny sometimes.
Now it's a man and woman issue.
Yes. How did I come up to you? You were talking to a man about a man and woman issue, about jumping in.
I'm letting you
and
speak,
talking
and you have a
over,
problem with
not.
that.
Okay, I'll just have to talk over you because you just keep jumping in on me. I talked about a bunch of points, and then you jumped on this one, and you started talking about it in a way that I didn't actually specify and say this. I didn't say all of this stuff exactly. You asked me, tell me a scholar. I'm telling you that scholars that study the Quran, that study what they believe the Quran to be, are the people who come together and make decisions for countries that are run by what they call Muslim law. And you can say it's not Muslim law. You can say, you told me that you disagree, that they're not running the way the Quran says. But I'm just saying, I might agree with you on this. However, it is scholars of the Quran who come together and say, this is what the interpretation is, and these are the laws we're making based on the Quran. I don't need to give you exact names of all the mullahs and imams
because you haven't got any
people, but there are. You can't refute that all these countries.
Something that is known obviously by necessity.
You can't refute that all
Do you know why?
countries are not people who study.
Do you know why I'm challenging you on this point? There are something in Islam known by necessity. There's a principle in Islam called al-ma'lum min ad-din bid-darura. What is known in the religion by necessity. Every Muslim knows that. For example, drinking alcohol, committing fornication, adultery. Can I finish my point? Can I finish my point?
That's in the Quran.
Can I finish my point?
Very specific part in the Quran.
Can I finish my point? Yeah, without being interrupted.
But your point seems to be wrong.
Without being interrupted. Without being interrupted.
Are you going to just speak false points though? Stay to the point. Don't give
Without
me
being
examples.
interrupted.
Stay to the point.
Without being interrupted.
Stay to the point.
So I can interrupt you like you interrupt me. That's you're telling me. Fine, no problem. I will interrupt you when you speak too. So
you did. No, you did. You continuously interrupted me. But then you start speaking false points and you're
what
changing
false
the
points?
subject.
What false points?
You're talking about how alcohol isn't in the Quran. It's very specifically in the Quran. About
what am I saying? Alcohol isn't in the Quran?
Yeah, you used alcohol as a point to say that there's things that aren't in the Quran that are just known.
That aren't in the Quran.
It is in the Quran about drinking.
Did I say it's not in the Quran?
You said that it's a known thing, that there's things, and you use that as an example. It is in the Quran about not drinking alcohol. That one I know.
Do you even understand what I'm talking about? I am saying there are things that are known by necessity. Do you know why? Because they're already mentioned explicitly. In the Quran says, do not approach, do not drink, right? Don't come to prayer when you're drunk. There's several levels of alcohol banning in the Quran. So if a scholar now decides and say, it's okay to sell alcohol and run alcoholic business in your country, in a Muslim country, in Saudi Arabia or otherwise, we know that these are wrong. This legislation that is derived from this faulty interpretation is not rooted in Islamic text. Likewise, women, whether they can own businesses, properties, lands, any kind of ownership, it is known by necessity because of the explicit text in the Islamic sources. That is my point. Instead of saying, oh, I don't know, maybe I've heard it wrong, let me go and check up with my friend who's a scholar, rather than assuming.
That's not what I was saying, you're twisting.
Wait.
No, it's not
Don't
fair
interrupt.
to twist.
Don't interrupt.
I will interrupt.
Rather than.
And saying something I didn't say, I will interrupt. It sounds like we got a riot going on there.
That's not going to help you. This discussion is going to help you in argument.
If there's something going on that I need to leave,
don't worry, we've got police over there. Look, can you see the police car? Can you move a little bit? Can you see the police car? Just waiting just for you. Look, over there. Can you see? That police car is going to protect you. Don't worry about it. I will call that police if something is going to, any harm going to come to you.
Did you not
I will give my life to protect you.
Did you not hear what was happening over there? Are you just so dumb that you're like, I'm just going to ignore?
Hang on. What happened over there? What happened over there?
There was a whole bunch of noise and stuff and
whistles. Oh, noise. So you are interested in the noise rather than a meaningful discussion. So second point.
If I'm trying to protect and make sure. No. You're being very rude right now, and that's where I end things.
You're running.
There was a bunch of noise and whistling. Just because you didn't hear it.
It happens all the time. Is this the first time you speak this corner?
I was taking a moment to make sure about my safety and surroundings and what's happening.
We will protect you here.
Don't worry.
Oh my God!
Two ladies here, Muslim ladies, will protect you.
That has nothing to do with it. It might be. It's not about you guys. It was.
They will protect you. If you distrust a Muslim man, Muslim woman will protect you.
Stupid. You're just being really dismissive and rude. I would protect them and you just the same. However, if there's something going on over there, it's good for our conversation to take a friggin' moment to stop to see if we need to maybe just have something else happen. Because our conversation is not actually the most important thing in the world. If people were dying over there, you
people
could
are dying in Speaker's Corner.
Oh.
You've come into a battlefield, isn't it?
This disrespect is how
You call that disrespect?
He just runs in circles and gets disrespectful. Now we're done.
Of course you're done, because you have no argument. You've been rinsed. You've been rinsed by the Saudis, you've been rinsed by the Moroccans. What else do you have to defend? Not Saudis, but you know about Saudi Arabia.
This is what you do. He just twists it, and says...
What did I twist about?
He has won the argument because he's...
Did I say I won the argument?
Yes, you just did.
You got yourself rinsed for the arguments. If you cannot handle the argument, it's not my problem.